On my 29th birthday, the restaurant felt like it was breathing money. Crystal glasses, folded linen napkins, perfume that cost more than my monthly rent. I already felt out of place the moment I walked in, but I had no idea what was coming. My uncle lifted his glass, smiling the kind of smile that always means trouble, and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "So, Claire, how's it feel owning a country house you've never even visited?" The world froze. My hand stopped midair. I looked at him, then at my parents, then at my sister. What house? The silence that followed felt like a slap. My mother tightened her grip on her napkin. My father turned away. My sister pretended to sip her wine, but her hand was shaking. And right there, I understood. This dinner wasn't a celebration. It was a setup, and I was the only one who didn't get the script. My name is Claire Morgan, and until that night, I truly believed being the easy daughter was my job in the family. I grew up in a house where the rules were simple. Don't question anything. Don't make noise. Don't expect help unless you've earned it. My older sister always got the applause. I always got the silence. And when silence is all you hear as a child, you grow into it. You start mistaking it for peace, for balance, for love. At 18, I left home without fanfare, without tears, without a single word of encouragement. I was the independent child, as they called it, which really meant survive on your own and don't embarrass us. Today, I live in a small apartment in Oakland with walls that creak when the wind hits it. I work half my life behind an espresso machine and the other half designing logos for clients who ghost me as often as they pay me. And despite all that, I liked the life I built for myself. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. Until the week before the dinner. The week everything cracked. I lost my biggest design client. My rent was due. My bank account looked like a bad joke. My roommate asked, "Are you going to ask your family for help?" I laughed. My family taught me one thing. Asking for help means you failed. And I believed that. Until the day I realized they never wanted to teach me independence. They wanted to teach me not to question them. When my mother called saying, "It's your birthday, Claire, don't be late, and just nicely," I felt that old pressure in my chest. It wasn't an invitation, it was an obligation. The kind that drains you even before you show up. But skipping would turn into accusations of drama, of disrespect, of being ungrateful. So I went. I spent the entire week pretending I wasn't drowning. Anxiety wrapped around my ribs like a second skin. Still, I ironed the only dress that still fit, put on makeup that tried to hide my exhaustion, and I went. Because that's what kids like me do. We show up, even when it hurts. The restaurant was the kind of place where the cheapest plate is more than half my grocery budget. My sister looked me up and down. "You still work at that little coffee shop, right?" My father chimed in, "You'll get a real job eventually. Don't give up." They weren't talking to me, they were evaluating me. I was counting down the minutes until I could leave when my uncle dropped the bomb. "How's your country house, Claire?" My brain stuttered. "What house?" Silence again. The kind only families know how to weaponize. My mother stood abruptly. "We need to talk, privately." And suddenly, I was being ushered toward a private room, my heart pounding louder than my footsteps. When I walked in, my grandfather was there. Old Morgan, the patriarch, the man who never showed up unless something irreversible was about to happen. He didn't smile, He didn't even blink. He placed a folder on the table. "Claire, why haven't you taken care of the house I left you?" I stared at him. "I didn't know I had a house." His jaw tightened, just barely. "Then explain why it's been rented for 7 years and why all the bills are under your name." My heartbeat climbed into my throat. That's not possible. Until he opened the folder. And there it was. The deed, lease agreements, bank statements, signatures that weren't mine, all connected to me. My mother whispered, "We were protecting you." My father added, "You were never stable enough to handle property." My sister smirked. "If it depended on you, the house would be falling apart." In that moment, I didn't just feel betrayed. I felt erased. My grandfather took a slow breath. "Claire, I bought that house for you, for your future. Your parents were supposed to manage it until you were ready." He pushed another stack of documents forward. Rent payments never given to me. Maintenance fees billed under my name. Debt tied to my credit. Purchases linked to my identity. My sister using the property as her vacation spot. It wasn't mismanagement. It was exploitation. I felt the ground tilt beneath me. My grandfather turned to them. "This is fraud." My mother's face faltered. My father stared at the floor. My sister's tears finally came not from guilt, but from fear. And inside me, something shifted. Silence was no longer an option. "Why did you do this to me?" I asked. My mother leaned forward. "You wouldn't understand how to manage a house." My father insisted, "We're your family. We did this for your own good." I laughed, a bitter, broken sound I barely recognized. "For my good? You left me struggling, working 2 jobs, drowning in stress, while you used something that belonged to me? How was that love?" No one answered. My grandfather slammed his hand on the table. "Enough." And when he said it, the room obeyed. My grandfather opened a thinner folder. "This," he said, pushing it toward me, "is the transfer of everything back to you. The house, the accounts, the rent that should have been yours." My mother stood. "You can't do this." "I already did." My father tried to defend himself. "We put time and effort into that property. You stole from her," my grandfather snapped. "Stealing time is still stealing." And then he slid a key across the table. "This is yours. It always was." When my fingertips touched the metal, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Ownership. Validation. Freedom. 2 days later, I drove to see the house. The road stretched out into quiet fields, the sky wider than anything in the city. My stomach twisted as I turned into the long driveway. When I opened the door, I felt the ghost of a life I never lived. Furniture I'd never chosen. Decor I'd never seen. Books I'd never read. A home. Lived in by strangers. Lived in by my own family without me. But I didn't cry out of sadness. I cried out of clarity. Because for the first time ever, I saw the truth with open eyes. They didn't hide the house to protect me. They hid it to control me. My grandfather called that night. "Claire, you did well. Asking questions is part of growing up." And that's when it finally clicked. They never feared I'd waste anything. They feared I'd wake up. Today, I'm renovating the house with my own hands, my own choices, my own future. And here's what I finally learned. Growing up in a home where you're silenced teaches you survival, but finding your voice teaches you how to live. My family spent my whole life saying, "Stop asking questions." But it was only when I finally started asking that I found out who I really am. If my story hit something in you, stay. The next one starts with a message sent at 2 in the morning and ends with a family tearing itself apart from the inside. Subscribe. Some truths deserve to be spoken out loud.